Hi, folks. Good voice. So, as I mentioned earlier, it just feels like that kind of day where I feel quite podcasty. Oh, we got two people here right away. Welcome. And where I'm finding a lot of things to laugh about today. And why not bring that into the live stream and share it with y'all and give each other some laughter. Because it's the best medicine, right? Or it's one of the best medicines. If it's done in, like I say, love and kindness, and not like teasing anybody or whatever. Not to say that it might not be about somebody, but it's how you do it. It's and then life is short. You know what I mean? Now it looks like both of the people did leave, and this is the thing, when you podcast every day and you get into certain habits, rhythms, and stuff, you kind of get some things that you say often, whether that's kind of verbal reminders to oneself that might be said out loud, or they are, I'm going to have to push this back a little bit, or they are kind of just a general statement, for whomever it resonates. Yeah. Now, I didn't have it plugged in for very long when I plugged it in, but I was moving around near a power bar earlier, and I must have turned the power bar off. So it wasn't charging for very long. But I am just finishing some stuff in the kitchen, putting some stuff away, and then I'll go sit. And actually, this cord will reach over here. So I can stay in the same location I was in, but it looks pretty comfy, and it's kind of a nice, different kind of spot to podcast than I sometimes do. Neat when you discover kind of a little nook or cranny that you don't spend a lot of time in. I mean, I do and I don't, but I mean, that chair is fairly easily movable. I put it where I put it. And it made sense. That was strange. Just a moment. And if you're going to be distracting, you have to go upstairs, unfortunately. I don't want to send you up there. You've been up there all night with us while you were sleeping in that. But I sometimes find that when I'm just moving around the kitchen, he's kind of watching that and distracted by that and waiting for things to fall on the floor and stuff. And so he's a little less distracting sometimes. But sometimes he's quite vocal while I'm doing these. Now, you may have wondered what I was noticing there, and if you didn't notice it, many that see this afterwards, because there was nobody here while I was rolling it. Maybe you didn't hear it on your side of things. What I was noticing is little clicking sounds. And there should have been no reason, because the coffee maker is not on, why setting this very briefly there, propping it on the coffee maker and the stove, fairly sturdy, the laptop, that would have been causing it. At first, when I lifted it, I thought it did stop. And I'm talking, so I can't quite hear it. So I'm going to shut up for a moment. But just a moment. No, I definitely hear something. It also sounds like something kind of cooking on the stove, but nothing's cooking on the stove. So, you know what I think it means? Time to donate if you like any of my past videos or this video. And you may be saying, why? What does the sound that you're hearing in the kitchen have to do with me giving you money? Nothing. It's just nice to do. No, just kidding. No, but seriously, we may or may not have a mouse problem, if you hadn't guessed. We know that our neighbors do, and they have an old house. So do we, but theirs is in slightly rougher condition, I think. And she's mentioned that they have mice in there. You know, they don't live in a very great environment, and you know, sanitary wise, and you know, for their mobility issues or whatever. And we tried to do something helpful, and every now and then we do try and help in general. It didn't seem to land very well. So, you know, where it sounded like it was especially coming from was the ceiling, which when I was growing up, for my first 6 years, I lived in a farmhouse, and and what do you call it? I don't think it was any of this stuff moving. I lived in a farmhouse, and we actually, I'll never forget, and it could be why I think later, and you can skip over the next 2 or 3 minutes if you are kind of guessing where this might be going and thinking that it might be disturbing, because if it triggered you, this might be an example of something that I don't know if I know how to help you with it. I mean, you know, so maybe you're skipping at this point, but maybe you're not. I didn't think I had a spider phobia, mostly because we don't have a lot of big spiders here. And, you know, to the animal lovers and the nature lovers and this and that, I'm not those things. But it is a bit of an impulse thing. It is a bit of their creepy crawlies. And it's also a bit of, you know, you don't want them and their whatever germs they may be carrying on them, getting on things. And some of them bite. And I'd actually kind of, you know, because we don't get a lot of them here where I live in Canada. It was actually, I saw something in some media and was like, oh, yeah. You know, but every now and then it's like, oh, there's a bug I've never seen before. So, you know, the other day I saw a video of a butterfly getting a new wing surgically attached. I know it's a sad story in some ways that some reason had lost a wing, but it was getting a new one put on. Anywho, but yeah, no, I think I had a dream once. That was different than the one where I was in Fran's car. And it looked a bit like yours, ironically. But I had a dream once in the 40s where I was in the living room and there was a whole bunch of mice on the floor, and I was trying to get away from them on the couch. But of course, if they wanted to, they could climb up on the couch too, you know, right? But you know, your impulse is often when you see something like that to try and get up high or stamp around a lot, right? You should see my mother in bees. Sometimes she's a little that way anyway. But you know what? No, I don't. You know, if anybody sees us that knows her, and it's not likely. Well, I shouldn't say that. But no, she knows what she's like around bees. And she also knows that sometimes she doesn't act in the best of ways and the effects that had. But as I've mentioned in other recent videos briefly, we've kind of, I'm not going to say I've fully healed from it. I'm not going to say I've fully forgiven. But I have gotten to a spot where I can look past it a little bit. And it's certainly not always easy to do that kind of thing, right? And we are able to enjoy each other's company. Sometimes there's a favor involved, like a ride to something. But this week has been a great example of that. And I don't usually see her 2 days in a row. So I do think that transpired the little bit of a dream I had. And the UPS on the ground, and she was in that, and the truck, the help truck says that. I do think it did. This might be a great segue to mention it. I'm not that much into this video as far as like duration wise. Otherwise, I'm completely into it. I don't even know exactly what it is, but I'm here for it, and I hope other people will be too. because it's going to be good. That I do know. In fact, I think it's already been fairly good. You know, I'm not trying to toot my own bugle and saying it's been fabulous and it's the best thing on YouTube, but I think it's been pretty all right. Pretty all right. Pretty all right. Okay, sorry. Like I say, I have no filters. You know, I'm not saying that I'm hating that community. I was around one the other day, I believe, though. Yeah, that or man, I'm not sure which one, but you know, I'm just making a rhyme, being goofy. You know, as far as that kind of thing goes, I kind of emulate some of the things that they do and the energy they have to do it. I mean, in some ways, it's not different than how most of us live our days. You know, we get food, we cook food, we clean. You know, it's not, but it's kind of like they did it in ways that aren't as modern, is what I'm trying to say. And there was somebody there for a few seconds, and then they probably thought, oh, yes, I have to go get food, cook it, and clean. Thanks for reminding me. I might have forgotten. See, it's moments like these. Pure gems, right? I mean, you could say I'm full of myself, but I have a confidence about it. You know, it's making me. I got this from a food bank hamper thing. Don't know where it came from before. Doesn't look like it's been dipped into, so I'm not going to be too particular. Sometimes these things just come a little loose, and there is quite a bit of moisture on the top. But this is a very neat looking hummus. There was an olive one too, but this is roasted garlic and herbs in a way I've never seen roasted garlic hummus before, I don't think. And it looks very good. I'm going to have to try some. I meant to have some as a before bed snack last night, and I don't think I ate anything. I was distracted and not super hungry, and yeah, I did. But the plastic cover underneath the lid was not completely stuck down. But like I say, it doesn't look dipped into. I don't really care. It looks good. Sometimes people out of impulse, they will open something because like, oh, that looks interesting. Maybe the person who kind of put it in the thing, in the fridge or whatever, did that, and be like, oh shit, I should have done that. But I didn't touch it. That's legit, I think. You know, some people, they do that kind of thing. Oh, it's very garlicky or lemony or something. They do that kind of thing without looking or without thinking. And then they know, like I say, nothing will transpire. Well, I'll take a chance. Take a chance. Take a chance, take a chance, take a chance, take a chance. In mine, my first in line. Take a chance on me. Take a chance on me. If you need me, call me up. That's as best as I know that song, at least in the moment. Plus, I don't know where this fork just came from. Oh, right. Plus, it's mild sugar. And all I go on about healing from sugars, do I need to heal from that one? Should I show you what it looks like in action? You know, it's not always easy, even doable sometimes, and sometimes it takes time. And I think we all have the capacity to help each other do so. We may say, I don't think you can say that. You don't know what a mess my life is right now. You don't know how many things I'm struggling and trying to figure out. And you're right, unless you tell me, I don't. But I know that we're all people living a life, doing the best that we can, and that we have learned things along the way. And that is valuable. That is valid. Somebody left, they're like, no, I haven't learned anything. And maybe it's because you don't stay on a podcast for more than a few seconds. Just kidding. They didn't say that, but maybe they thought it. You never know. Could be. Or maybe their phone died and they've learned a lot of things. Or maybe they're like, or some people truly probably feel like, I don't need to learn anything. I feel like I'm very smart and I got things figured out. And, I thought this was supposed to be funny. And here I come into this and he's telling me I need to learn something or teach something. That's too much pressure. He doesn't know me, whatever it is. There will be people that think these things. There will be. There will also be people that don't, right? But no, I mean, I'm not saying, again, thinking that way is not, I'm not saying it's not valid, but I am saying it's a little inaccurate to what I'm putting into this. So, I don't know, someone wants to judge that quickly, then so be it. You can't do much about it, right? But we do have somebody here, and I want to say welcome to the channel, to the video. Curious if you've ever been to the channel before, if you'd like to say, or how you came across it. I'm just doing a couple little things in the kitchen, finishing up, and then I want to say I like this stuff. In the person left, right. I want to say I like this stuff, but it is very strong flavored. The strongest flavored hummus I've ever had, and I don't know why. I mean, I guess you could say it kind of looked like it would be. I'm looking for a date just to see that it hasn't expired, but I don't think that's the problem. And I'm also not seeing one, which is really odd. Thank you, mercy again. No date, no dice. It would be a gamble, not worth taking. Maybe with cheese later. Cheese. And the people that raise us make us, but we also are so influenced by the people around us and also the things that we absorb and ourselves. Whether we're trying for that or not, we do influence ourselves. I just want to check something really quickly here. I'm hoping that toggling will be a fine idea. But first I'm going to look and see if there is another spot that makes sense. I mean, that almost does. No, I'm going to do it in this one. Not that long ago I did look up her name, actually. Doesn't look like she's passed away. On one side of the thing, I want to trust if I'm feeling some kind of spiritual visit that could potentially be healing and special and not question it. At the same time, if I don't know for sure, I'm not always going to just jump right into it and act like I do. Waste my energy in that. But I do think that thinking about this particular person is a reminder, as I mentioned in the previous video, to be considerate of others and respectful as much as possible, and how that is appreciated. So, there you hear it. I have to plug this in very soon, but I'll keep rolling because I'm feeling it, I think. It's a very interesting image. I don't know where they get drowning. Works at jobs, he plays computer games. I guess he feels like he doesn't have to work. I am a bit warm, and even though I'm talking, I gotta say I don't think I've noticed the. I'm just gonna open this again for a little while. I don't think I've noticed the sounds of little feet. And even if I stop talking, I'm gonna still be doing. Just kidding. Oh, okay. But it was really odd. I mean, no bug would make that noise. Nothing on this planet, anyway. Well, nothing locally. Maybe it was just passing through the wall and went back outside, or somewhere else in the house. It's always a little uncomfortable when you realize you have a mouse in the house, right? It's like, are they gonna bite me? Are they gonna crawl? But and oftentimes when there's one, there's more than one, right? And it's like certain insects, right? So that's what I was alluding to earlier, and I kind of drifted from it. But if you like this podcast, if you find yourself enjoying yourself and having a good time here and would like to donate, any donating platform will take a cut, and it does sometimes take a while to pay out. But we may or may not have to have exterminator come and deal with this problem if we feel like it's a thing. It may have been the dog walking around on the floor behind me that I was hearing, but it was louder than usual, and it certainly sounded like it was behind the stove and in this wall. But this isn't just to be about mice. This is to be about, I was going to say whatever you'd like it to be about. No, but in a way, I am musical if you have a song request, but I also am here just talking. I found myself in a couple of deep conversations already early this morning. It's just about 10 o'clock here. I've been up since about 7. And there was some amusing things that were said. And I thought, maybe I'll bring them here and let's enjoy each other's company and see what that brings. So we got 3 of you here, but it went down to 1, and one of you's been here for about 5 minutes. And again, it's a reminder for myself and a reminder to others, as much as it sounds repetitive sometimes for me, when I podcast every day. But truly, their phone may have died. Truly, something may have came up. In fact, speaking of plugging in devices, I have to plug this in shortly, but I'll keep rolling. It's not necessarily personal. And if it is, they're wrong. They judge too quickly. But I'm hoping that the person that's here, but if that's not the case, that's fine, is the one that was here before those 2 briefly came. And if so, again, happy to have you here. Welcome to the channel. Curious if you've ever been to it before, or how you came across it. I don't think any of the other stuff from our shopping has to rush to be put in the fridge, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. Is there anything else that I want to have with my coffee? I had these muffins, and they were just kind of And I'm thinking, well, what I haven't put away yet is cheese and butter. Yes, you could say butter works on muffins. I actually don't really understand people who don't put butter on muffins, but even peanut butter kind of works, and jam maybe even. But I do have a bit of butter on there already. I do not have garlic butter on there, though. But I don't know if garlic butter and chocolate chip muffin go together. It's just a mini muffin. I'm thinking they may more likely end up being G's on cheesecake. I had the greatest cheesecake the other day, y'all. I'm just saying. I don't eat it often. It was the lightest too, and actually not that sweet considering how much chocolate was on the top. And I think they must have had I think they must have made them hungry. But they must have had a method where they maybe ladled it on top and had some sort of spatula or something along the side of the ladle, because it wasn't drizzled. I thought it would be drizzled, especially when she said it can be chocolate, caramel. She made it with strawberry or chocolate and caramel, whatever you want. And so I thought, okay, so they just do a couple of drizzles. I just took chocolate, and yeah, it was like the whole top of it was covered. And there was a couple of dollops of whipped cream and some icing sugar, I believe it was. And it was quite nice. Not overly sweet, not overly heavy, which I was really surprised about. I don't know what the secret is there, but I have had ones in like little muffin cups or cupcake cups that are a little bit more creamy than heavy and thick. I have. Probably you have too. And if not, do it, man. Do it, peeps. This holiday season might be a good time. Or the next party you're at. Potluck. 43%. Gotta plug her in soon. Gotta plug her in. And yes, I do try and incorporate a little bit of music, whether I'm getting song requests from myself or other people. even if it's just singing a little line of something, whether it's made up or actual. So obviously I've done a bit of both of those now. Obviously. Yeah, I might kind of just have, and I do often have a light breakfast. I don't usually skip it, but I don't often eat much in the morning. But it's kind of funny because I'm hit and miss. I make my coffee pretty much the same all the time, but sometimes it's like, I need to eat something with that. It didn't turn out well, and I guess I haven't decided about this morning's, but as I mentioned in one of my recent videos, it makes it a little bit tricky to podcast because it can make my throat a little bit itchy or whatever. Itchy is the wrong word, but I do something kind of unique with my coffee. Might not be unique in certain countries, and flavoring wise it's not, but the way I do it I think is kind of unique. And just letting you know in case you're wondering, how does that guy drink his coffee? Does he even drink coffee? Yes, and would you like to know how? If you do, I'll tell you. It's a fairly new way. That I've gotten a little bit creative with. Part of it is, like I say, sometimes I make one and it's like, well, I put lots of sugar in it. It's either too sweet or it's still something, not sure. So you got to adjust it some way or another. One thing I will say is I sometimes put salt in my coffee, and apparently that's pretty popular. I have a new follower, actually. He's, I guess, not been here yet, and I don't know how to take people in, but who has lived in Denmark and countries in and around that, but there and in and around there, it's quite popular. I'm in Canada. Lots of people from those countries are also in Canada. I just find I like salt. And I know some people will say, well, it's not exactly healthy, especially too much of it, but too much of most things, a lot of things isn't healthy.